Wow. Okay. Lawlers, this is Syndra gameplay for Dummies in follow-up to the Syndra guide that was posted recently on the channel. I think we're against an Annie mid lane, so this should be a pretty interesting matchup. We're both kind of mid-range control burst mages, so we'll have to really make sure we understand the matchup in this case to play the lane effectively. Again, I'm not a one-trick Syndra, I'm not a master at this champion, so the things we're going to cover in this game are just basic fundamentals that everyone can do to try and maximize your gameplay as you're learning the champ, or if you're just kind of auto-filled and you're playing her, and hopefully win a bunch of games. So kind of right off the bat, you always want, as a mid lane, look at the jungle and the mid lane matchup so you know if you're going to be susceptible to ganks or what type of gank you're going to face. So we're against the Kayn, so really pre-level 6 with this guy, and even post-level 6 unless he goes blue form. The ganks aren't going to be crazy. We just maybe have to put a ward in the river here if we're pushed up and get an idea if he's going to come in at us. But more importantly with Annie, who's our mid lane matchup, obviously when she gets her stun available, that's what we need to watch out for. Before that, I'm pretty confident we can out-trade her, especially once we learn our QE. That combo will be pretty good at hitting her from range or even setting up a gank. So our power in this lane pre-level 6 is really going to be when she goes for those last hits, we're going to try and hit her with some Qs like so. Okay, if we can do that enough times and kind of get her to 75%, 50% health, that's when our jungler may decide to come for a gank, and we might be able to get lucky and grab a gank. What we do need to be careful of is when she gets that stun, if she's saving it for us, I want to make sure that we don't get hit by it. Okay, so I'm going to try and postulate pretty aggressively here, see if we can draw out something from her. It's been tough to hit her with her Qs so far. She's doing a good job of dodging them as she goes for last hits. And it's going to be tough against champs like Annie because she can use her Q for the last hit, which deals a little bit more damage than an auto attack. So she has a little bit of flexibility of when she wants to go for those last hits. So some of the Qs I'm going to have to throw now in this lane, it looks like, are going to have to be preemptive, kind of, I guess, knowing where she's going to move before she moves their Qs. And this is part of the difficulty in playing Syndra well, is obviously early on you don't have the most mana, so if you miss a bunch of Qs, you're going to run out of mana very quickly, and it's going to be tough to continue harassing the champs. And if they have abilities to let them last hit in kind of a fashion that's not very static, it's going to be even tougher to land those Qs. So we'll see how it goes here. She's also playing very safe. She's not really trying to harass me too much. There's one now. So I'm going to throw the Q. Well, I was trying to throw it behind her. It looks like the lane phase right now, unless we get a gank, is going to have to go an early back here and use our recall to get some more mana and health. So she's going to throw another Q at us here. So you can see the Qs. If you can't do a good job of predicting them, just right now what I'm probably going to have to concede to is knowing that I'm going to have to use the Qs to shove this lane out because I want to get it back off in a second. So I'm going to start to try and spam the wave with my Q here and just get this pushed in as fast as possible and as safe as possible so I can go back and maybe get a cheeky back off. Okay? That's pretty much it right now. You can see I don't even have enough mana to throw a Q out right now, so we're just going to use a W to get this wave pushing, and I'm going to back and use my teleport to come back here and hopefully get an advantage on her in the mid lane. So tough amount of gold here for the first back. I still want to try and build towards this, so I'll just pick up a mana crystal and a pair of boots. I'm going to see if I can walk back the lane here without missing too much. Hopefully this is going to push back towards me with it being kind of stuck closer to her turret right now. So not the worst back timing, to be honest, and we'll come back with a little bit more mana and health now. You can see she's doing a very good job of sustaining. So the early lane is playing out kind of as expected without too much jungle pressure. None of us are really doing that much to each other pre-level 6 just because our range is so similar that it's tough to really step up and do anything without risking a big trade. So I'm going to see if I can just kind of keep the wave here. She's trying to chase me down and do some damage. That's fine. I'm kind of focusing now, using my Qs on the wave a little bit more. I see Nocturne coming up, so I'm going to try and get a stun off. I did. Right now I knocked her back. We'll see if we can get a slow on her too. One more Q. Okay, we caused a flash. That's great. So I mean, because it's almost a mirror matchup, we just played it safe and keeping the lane on our side, more of the lane phase, as opposed to pushing until we wanted to back and get a recall. So we played very safe, which is good as a control mage, especially with some burst to post level 6. We're just trying to play it safe until then and use our jungler. So again, even over here, I know she wants to back probably soon. She has no flash and I'm freezing it here. So I'm going to see if I can keep her in lane a little bit longer. Okay, this is probably not good. Yeah, he got a little bit cheeky there and got caught, but still, if we can keep this Annie in lane here for a long amount of time at this level right here, could be pretty good. I need to flash that because she could have ulted me off of that. I'll probably get ulted here. I'm still not level 6. I'm just hoping that I can get level 6 so I can ult somebody and kill them. I'm going to throw that Q behind him here. If I get one more Q, okay, here we go. There's the ultimate, and we get the kill. So, just played very, very safe. I had to flash preemptively on that last play just to avoid an Annie ult, which allowed us to stay alive and get that kill when we hit level 6 against the Kayn. So far very good, right? We've just been playing very relaxed, very controlled. We're not forcing anything. One of the keys with Syndra is that you don't look to force a play, all right? Just make sure you play safe. Play till your level 6 power spike if you're in a lane where you really can't get a good amount of damage off, or consistently hit your Qs on an enemy champion until that point. And then burst people out with your ultimate, right? Like as a control mage or AP, you're really dependent on your items most of the time. So it's more important sometimes to just stay alive and get last hits and golden experience, so that when that mid game kind of rolls around 10 to 15 minute mark, you're more powerful than your enemy opponent. If me and Annie just kind of stay equal, none of us kill each other, it's not a bloodbath in the lane here, but I have a first full item before her, and we just face check each other and try and burst each other out, I'll win that burst just based off my items. As you can see now, I'm going to open up a little bit on her just because I want to push this in again effectively. So I'm going to try and pressure her to make a decision if she wants to try and trade with me or take a bunch of minion aggro, and I'm going to start throwing out my Qs in area where I think she's going to be. I need to be careful because if she gets a stun up, I still will be screwed over by a Kayn gank now. So this is a good time to place a ward like we talked about. You had the lane pushed in. There's not too much you can do to under tower without risking dying. So now I want to put some wards where I think Kayn might come from. So I'm going to usually try and place my wards pretty deep if I can, especially with a guy like Kayn who can go through walls. I want to know where he is before he gets close to mid lane. So we see him there now, he's on his blue. So we'll just ping that and continue our normal laning right now against this Annie. So maxing out that Q. If we see a good spot to land a QE, we will, just to get some of that damage on, bring her to half health. That just makes her all in a little bit more scary for her. She won't maybe want to all in us because we can burst her with our R before she can burst us. So again here, I'm going to just preemptively try and guess where she's going to go with my Q. She's been doing a really good job of, there we go. I think we can probably all in her here. I'm going to throw my R if I can. I just couldn't get into range. We would have killed her there with the R. Just could not get into range. That's really unfortunate. So right now, because I'm low on mana, I again just want to push this wave as fast as I can. Try and get this into her turret so that I can go back and buy an item. Unfortunate, if I had enough mana for W on that cannon, but we did not. So right now the lane phase is actually going really well. The pacing of it's quite good. She has a little bit more CS than us, but that's because we were focusing early on and trying to harass her as opposed to just pushing waves. So it's not the end of the world. We'll wait for our mana to fill up a little bit here, and then we'll head back. Now I do still have TP, so I could TP to this lane and really kind of screw her over, which I'm going to do here. I'm just going to burst her if she stays. Alright, so that's just because, again, like we talked about, if we don't have that much of a bloodbath, do I have to? If we don't have that much of a bloodbath early and I have an item advantage as a burst mage, I'm just going to win the trade. So it was still pretty close there, but because I had an item advantage, I just won the trade. And that's what your ult allows Syndra to do, just delete targets if they don't really have a way to dodge that ultimate. People like Zed or Fizz, really bad matchups for Syndra because they can dodge that ultimate. So just be careful into those matchups when you want to use your R, but an Annie is just going to have to sit there and eat it if she's in range. Another quick little cheeky back there pick up our blasting wand and then get back to lane here. So we should definitely be ahead of items now. Oh no, looks like we're about the same. Even though we have 2 kills, somehow Annie has the same amount of items as us. That's really cool. I guess we just had a little bit of extra gold that we couldn't use maybe. So same plan again in lane here. We're just going to play patient and safe until we chunk her out enough times with some of these preemptive Qs. We're really having to guess where she's going with these Qs again. I'm just going to keep emphasizing that. You know, being good with your Qs in certain matchups is going to be dependent on the player you're facing, almost like a mind game. You have to know their movement patterns and what they're going to do to really get good at landing it. So I'm going to try and throw another Q and then maybe throw a stun on her here in a second, just because I wanted to try and chunk her out. Happened to miss it. It was good movement by her. Throw a Q and try and chunk her out now. Now, because our Q is maxed out ability-wise here, our passive is making it deal an extra 25% to champion. So every time she eats a Q right now, it's probably going to be about 15-20% of her health bar. So this is where I really want to start just popping these out and seeing if I can land one. And just chunk her, right? Like this is our more powerful ability right now at this point of the game than her Q. Now I don't know where Kane is and the wave's pushing again, so we're going to default to placing a deep ward again. I want to know where this guy is. Okay, so here he is. I'm probably going to have to die here, I would assume. I'm going to flash away after I come out of after I come out of his ult. I'm just being careful here. See if I can put enough damage on for our Nocturne to kill him. It was just really oh no. Okay, good, he got him, but he dies. Let's see if our team cleans this up. Okay, well at least he gets out. Wow, she flashed for that, eh? Interesting. Okay, so take note, right? Annie doesn't have flash now, so that means that if she's within range for her ult and we think we can kill her, she's probably just gonna have to eat it and die. Really unfortunate there, so that just again speaks to the fact that you're very squishy. You can see there, I was just walking in towards the jungle to even place a ward, and I got extremely punished for it. Oh no, we still can't buy this? Oh no, we're gonna have to wait a little bit. What can I sell? Can I sell anything to get there faster? Oh well, we're just gonna sit and talk for a little bit while we wait for that 50 gold. You can see in that situation there, just walking in to place a deep ward against a Kane who was lower level than us. I think at the time probably 2 levels lower. We just got annihilated. It's just too tough of a situation to face check as a control mage. So try and, if you have to in situations, if that keeps happening to you, just try and let your jungle place that ward, or you're gonna have to place wards that aren't so deep. Just something to keep in mind. We did also miss our E on him there. He kind of entered his ult on us very, very early. I didn't expect him to do that, so that was a great play by him to dodge the stun with that. But it doesn't change anything in lane here. I think we're still a leg up on the Annie in terms of the matchup now. So we're just going to have to concentrate on poking her out with some Qs. And then in team fights now, really trying to display the power with our stun and team stun ability here with our QE. Might be able to grab some plates here. We don't really have any wards top or bottom, so I'm really scared about the Kane coming in again. This time we're really going to have to try and understand to time our stun against this Kane. We know he's good enough to try and time his ult to miss our stun now, so a little bit more mind games again. Syndra's kit is very unforgiving in that everything is basically a skill shot except the R. So I know that seems like, oh, it's a noob R, you just press R and delete someone, but to really have to get to that point with her where you can do that, every other ability that you've been playing in the lane phase and ahead of that has to be pretty skill reliant. Like, you're going to have to hit a bunch of things. Okay, so again here, see that right there, why I backed off that bush? Annie's missing from lane. She ended up being on red buff, but she could have very easily been sitting in this bush here with her ult and stun ready and would have deleted me. So now I have enough mana, I can just push these waves and start to roam with my Nocturne, and you guys can do the same thing, especially if the matchups are becoming more stagnant in your lane. So we see Kane here. This is a good fight for us. Again, I mistimed my E. I'm going to pick up a W here and just get ready to ult this guy. There's enough balls on the ground. I think we can... Oh, wow, we're going to die here. Die here. Again, right? Like, it's just there's no mercy sometimes with a champ like this. If you miss your stun, you don't have a dash in your kit as a control mage most of the time. So it's very unforgiving. You miss a stun, you're going to get outplayed. So we're going to have to do a much better job of timing that up this game if we want to live. Another thing we're going to have to start to build towards now, instead of the Sork boots, is probably our Zhonya's. Even though we're against an AP mage in the mid lane, her burst probably warrants us building a Zhonya's just for some survivability. We do have TP here. We could TP, and I think Set's going to be able to finish this. I guess he's not. It's a good thing we didn't TP because we would have died there, and Nocturne having to waste his ult. I'm just going to walk this back in. I don't think Nocturne should be fighting this, so we're just going to walk it back in so we don't bait him into it. So now that we're here, I can land a couple of W's or stuns. I'm going to try and stun this Kayn for once. Can't do it still. This guy's a god at dodging my stun. I'll let the team follow up on him there. I'd rather just pick up this farm. I think we'll get him. Maybe not. His ceiling's pretty insane. Okay, good. They picked him up there. Okay, so keep pushing out this lane. Now we're going to try and really push this wave out fast because our Annie is already dead. So we're going to use our Q, E, and W to really push that out. You can see you can kill those waves very fast as Syndra and apply some of that turret pressure, or maybe go and roam if you have some good vision. In this case now we have good vision of bot side, so I'd want to hang towards bot side here so I can run towards it if I need to. And again, we're just going to use our Q and our W and our E to push this wave out very fast. Okay. One more Q. And that's good. Okay, so you can see here early game basically we played very, very safe. We got some kills, which is great. We died a few times, unfortunate. Very skill shot relying champ. So when it worked out well for us, we hit a bunch of skill shots and we used our R with like 4 or 5 balls. We did really good. When we missed some stuns and we got too close to the enemy champs and mispositioned, we paid the price. So as we transition into the mid and late game here, we're still going to try and push waves in and then very safely roam with our team to see if we can affect other lanes. Now, when you push up past halfway, I'd recommend you keep your E ready in case someone tries to gank you so you can try and disengage instead of using it to push the wave. Your Q should be powerful enough. With your W you can push waves. Now Kayn's very strong. It's always important to kind of take a look at the scoreboard here and there. He does have 5 kills, so if he runs into us, he likely will be able to 1v1 us very easily. So we're more important to the team in terms of using our crowd control and stuns right now than just raw 1v1 ability. Won't always be the case. If you play Syndra very well early lane phase, you get fed, get a bunch of kills, get an item advantage, you can take on anybody 1v1 just by pressing your ultimate on them. In this case, that's not the situation. I'm going to head back towards mid lane and towards the dragon now. I'm going to TP on this just because I want to try and help our team do this. I have Flash and Zhonya's to get over this wall. Again, I missed my stun. Okay, we're going to use Zhonya's to try and stay alive here. We have a bunch of balls, and we do have our stun still, so we're going to be able to do that and get a double kill there. So you can see the damage now in these skirmishes is getting large enough that we can have a pretty good impact. And again, the CC, the ult, it was a little bit more effective in a team situation there as opposed to just a 1v1. I wouldn't have TP'd in on a 1v1 where I could just be the focus and die. But the Zhonya's also gave me a lot of comfort TPing in there that I know I could stay alive long enough for the team to really back me up. So that worked out really well. So we picked up another couple of kills off that. We can now buy our full Zhonya's. We'll start working towards our boots next. And this should be, I think, a pretty good game from here. It's flowing well now. I think we have enough damage, and the game's at a point where we're roaming enough with our team. We can kind of be that kind of artillery line, stand back, deal damage with our Qs and E's, and just kind of let the game flow from there. So no one's bought right now at the Senna. I'd be worried if I was her about being down there. You can see Kayn is already pathing towards her since she's isolated. He wants that kill. We're going to roam up towards our team here. If there's nothing for you to do as Syndra, I wouldn't recommend split pushing with her too much. Kind of get the waves to halfway and then try and join up with your team somewhere. It's just she's not a split push champ. You're going to die very, very easily to a lot of these assassins who are going to be looking for you in the side lanes. So we just had eyes on Aurelia mid. She pushed up. She's probably going to be... Oh, no, she's not missing right now. So we'll just take this turret down. She's staying in the mid lane. So we'll trade this with her right now. And we'll just use our QWs and E's to really push this out fast. I'm going to recall now and help the team in the mid. Again, you want to be grouping with your team probably more often than not once you push whatever lanes wave you're in past the halfway point. That's where Syndra's going to shine a little bit more. So we'll path up towards the team here. Kane's getting very aggressive. Aurelia looks like he'll probably follow up with an ult, so we're going to try and keep our distance and then use our QWE combos on these people. Pathing towards here, definitely help win this fight. So there's our E stun. You can see there it was enough to really get her knocked away from our team, and also the burst damage off it was pretty high that we can take her down. So guys, that's going to wrap up this game. It wasn't the longest game in terms of a late game, but it showed kind of that early game lane phase evaluation, how to transition to those mid games and where Syndra is strong and where she's weak. So I hope you enjoyed that and have some success in your games.